Okay, remember if you are enjoying my stories, you can subscribe by clicking the subscribe thing, or you can share it on your social media. Today, I'm going to be telling a story about forgiveness. Most of us, as we go through life, all of us, as we go through life, we make mistakes and we do things that we ought not to have done, but there is forgiveness. And you think about what it would be like if we would go through life and there wasn't any forgiveness. We could never be forgiven of anything. We would carry a bigger and bigger load of guilt as we go through life. But God has made our human bodies in a way that illustrates forgiveness. I've done a lot of things to my body. I've cut it, I've had bruises. By my age, if nothing, but they heal. By my age, if nothing would ever heal, I would be walking around inside of a bandage. Heal, they get better and they go away and we forget about them. However, there are some things that we do in life that are so serious and they have consequences for the rest of our lives. We'll never forget them because they are with us, and the consequences are with us through the rest of our life. When I was 9 years old, my family and I were away for Sunday dinner. My uncle and his family were there, and we were after lunch. Us children were outside playing, and I was pushing a little girl on a swing, and had a folding chair set up in the lawn, and I would push her on her swing, and then when I would sit on my folding chair, and then when she would slow down, I would get up and I'd push her again. And one time when I went to sit on my folding chair, I sat down too quickly and it was on a little bit of a hill and it fell over backwards. And I grabbed at the legs, and it was one of the old folding chairs that had more the scissor style legs. And my thumb got in between the legs. And so it got smashed in there. I fell on top of it. My thumb was broken in three places from here to here, and it was completely cut off here at this knuckle. So there I was, and so excuse me, my uncle who was there anyway. We took my thumb along to the kind of put it back on and wrapped it up and took it along to the hospital. We got to the Ephrata hospital, to the emergency room, and the emergency room doctor looked at it and he said to my dad, he said, "Well, they're starting to reattach things, and they say it works better with children than with adults." And he said, "I've never done it, but I read an article about it, and if you want me to try it, I'll try it." And so my dad, he said, "If it doesn't work, we can take it off later." So my dad was, "Sure, why not?" Well, they put it in a cast and they left the end open so that they could see if it had any circulation or not, and it did not have circulation. It got dark, and I don't know how often I would go back to the doctor, but I would go back to the doctor, I think, every few days. And I went back to the doctor, and it was all dark, and the doctor would poke it with a needle, and I couldn't feel anything, and it didn't bleed. And I don't know how many times I went back, until one time I went back, and then the doctor said, "Okay, if it doesn't have circulation by the next time you come, we're going to have to take it off because you could get gangrene and it could be much worse for you." So I went home, and the night before my next doctor appointment, my thumb was still dark. It didn't have any circulation. It didn't look good at all. And so my mother said, "Merle, you need your thumb. We need to pray for your thumb that is pink as a baby's thumb." And it felt so tender inside that cast. Every time I moved it, it felt sore. So we went back to the doctor and he said, "Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be good." So after a number of weeks, they took off my cast and there was my thumb. At first, I couldn't bend this knuckle. I think today they would probably put me in physical therapy, but at that time, they just let the 9-year-old boy play around and work his thumb. And eventually it got going. And so there it is. It's a little shorter than my other thumb, and it kind of goes off to the side. And it doesn't have the best circulation. When it's 20 below zero, I still have to rub it so that it doesn't freeze. But I have my thumb. Now, I will never forget that because it looks the way it does, and I have a scar that goes all the way around my thumb. But it doesn't hurt the same way that it did the day I cut it off. I don't have the same pain that I did in the first week after I cut it off because it's healed. There are some things in life, some things that have happened to you that aren't even your fault. Some things that are that you've done that maybe you did completely by accident, but they turned out to be rather serious. But just remember, there is forgiveness, and even the most serious things in life, even though they have consequences for the rest of our lives, we don't have the same pain that we had when they happen. There is healing that comes after time. And I am very, very thankful for forgiveness and that we have forgiveness.